What was that? I don't know. I'm making this video on something that I'm learning as an older person. Older people walk around with stories. Older people have so many stories inside their head. These stories are what kind of creates their path or their dialogue for like what a lot of them talk about, after talking about the weather or whatever, this, that, and the other. And I don't think it really starts to happen until maybe you're in your 50s. And maybe you become retired, and so now you start to play these stories of how your life was. And then the disconnect from no longer working and no longer having an identification, meaning you're no longer, you can't say, well, I'm a military guy, or I'm a freaking woodworker, or whatever, woodworker, a carpenter, whatever. So we walk around with these stories where this is just our life. And if you stop and talk to an older person, say over 60 years old like me, even though I look like I'm 30, you're going to find that we usually talk about what we used to do, and our kids. I mean, it's just a natural progression as you get older. So there's really no meaning to this little story that I'm telling right now. Just something something I observed as getting older, is that we do walk around with a lot of stories. We just have stories in our heads. So if you meet somebody, say you're walking, you meet them in the park, and you say, hey, how's it going? Especially with an older person would love it if you would sit there and listen and honestly be like, even if you have to fake it, just pretend like you're interested. Because it means the world to people as they get older. Because just to have anybody at all to listen to our stories makes us feel a lot better. And it's also good for our cognitive skills when we talk to people that can empathize with what we're talking about. An older person, you're not going to be talking about AI. You get my drift? You might be talking about Doom or Duke Nukem or, could be talking about Donkey Kong too. Everybody loves a little Donkey Kong. But you get my drift. As we get older, sometimes it's nice to somebody that can understand what we're talking about based on our experiences in years past, not what happened last year, not even what happened 5 years ago, but what happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We don't really give a crap about AI and Chat GP, GPT, whatever the hell that is. We're more interested in the old school stuff, like Doom 1993. Or you go even further back, go to frickin' Donkey Kong, frickin' Centipede, frickin' Pong. Come on, dude. And ironically, even if you talk about some of the old school stuff, super old school here, 1980. Full-on punk stuff. I was involved in the punk rockabilly era. We had so much fun. And the weird thing is, that's 45 years ago. But even back then, we were smoking they call them jarms, clove cigarettes. It's like the 50s. The 50s was, if you were raised in the 50s, if you were like in that era, it was totally cool. But nowadays, people are like, well, whatever, freaking Elvis. But, so when you're talking to an older person, a lot of times they have stories I have stories. My therapist, my doctor said, Jesus Christ, you talk forever. And it's part of getting older. We have stories in our head. And they don't want to leave. But honestly, back in the 80s, there was a lot of, we would go and do a lot of crazy stuff, like drive cars off of cliffs. That was fun. Or burn surfboards and throw them off of cliffs. You know, just because we're older doesn't mean we're dead. So if you see an older person, they might just be walking or standing in a park, trying to process information, looking at trees, stuff like that. It would be nice to maybe say hello and not be so judgmental, and maybe not be so quick to say hi and bye. You know, sometimes older people just need somebody to listen to. Something to think about. Thanks for watching.